Here's what nobody tells you about stress management. Everyone gives you the same tired advice about deep breathing and meditation, but they're missing the most important piece. There's a specific sequence of actions that can completely change your stress response in under an hour. I'm going to walk you through a real day where everything went wrong and show you exactly how I turned it around using 3 simple techniques. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete system that actually works when life gets overwhelming. The hidden stress triggers nobody talks about. Most people think stress comes from big problems, but I'm about to show you the real culprits hiding in plain sight. You know that feeling when you wake up, okay, but by 3 p.m. you're completely drained? That's not because of one major crisis. It's because of dozens of tiny stress triggers you don't even notice. Here's what I want you to understand. 90% of our daily stress actually comes from these invisible micro-stressors. Your cluttered desk sends a signal to your brain that something's wrong. That overflowing inbox creates a constant background hum of anxiety. Those notification pings interrupt your focus every few minutes. Each one seems harmless, but they're quietly building pressure all day long. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat and these minor annoyances. When you see 17 unread emails, your nervous system responds as if there's actual danger. When your workspace is messy, your mind interprets this as chaos that needs fixing. Even when you think you're ignoring these things, your subconscious is processing them as problems to solve. I call this stress stacking. Each small trigger adds another layer to your mental load. By afternoon, you're carrying the weight of hundreds of these tiny stressors. You feel overwhelmed but can't pinpoint why because nothing seems particularly serious. The problem is cumulative. What makes this worse is how these invisible stressors mess with your decision-making ability. When your cortisol levels stay elevated from constant micro-stress, your brain shifts into survival mode. You start making reactive choices instead of thoughtful ones. You feel scattered because you literally are scattered. Most stress management advice treats symptoms after you're already overwhelmed. Take deep breaths when you're panicking. Do meditation when you can't focus. But what if we could stop the stress from building up in the first place? What if we could identify these hidden triggers before they stack up into that 3 p.m. crash? The solution isn't just managing stress better. It's about recognizing these invisible patterns and breaking free from reactive stress cycles. Once you can see these triggers, you can design your environment and routines to prevent them. You stop playing defense and start playing offense with your mental energy. Now let me show you exactly how I use this knowledge to transform my worst day into a breakthrough. The 60-minute turnaround system that actually works. Let me walk you through Tuesday, March 15th, the day everything fell apart, and how I rebuilt my entire day in under an hour. I woke up to 3 missed calls from my biggest client. The project I thought was due next week was actually due that morning. My computer crashed during the most important presentation of the month. By 10 a.m., I felt like the world was ending. You know what didn't help? All that traditional advice about taking deep breaths and counting to 10. When you're facing real crises, those feel-good techniques feel completely useless. I needed something that actually worked when everything was on fire. That's when I discovered my 3-part system that saved not just that day, but changed how I handle stress forever. The first part is the movement reset. I'm not talking about going for a pleasant walk. I mean specific 10-minute sequences that literally reset your nervous system. I did jumping jacks for 2 minutes, then held a plank for 1 minute, then did 20 squats. This isn't about fitness. It's about using movement to break the stress cycle your body gets stuck in. Next comes the small win strategy. I picked the most straightforward task on my list and completed it immediately. I organized my desk drawer. That's it. But here's what happens when you achieve one tiny victory. Your brain releases dopamine and your confidence starts rebuilding. You remember that you can actually solve problems instead of just surviving them. The third part is cognitive reframe. I wrote down exactly what I was feeling. Not stressed, but angry about the missed deadline and scared about disappointing the client. Then I asked myself what caused this situation and what I could control right now. This quick analysis stops your mind from spinning in panic mode. What makes the system work is how these 3 elements connect. The movement resets your body's stress response. The small win rebuilds your confidence. The cognitive reframe gives you clarity about what to do next. They're not separate techniques. They work together as one complete reset process. Here's the fantastic part. When you use small wins consistently, they create a compound effect through neuroplasticity. Your brain starts believing you can handle difficult situations because you have evidence that you actually can. You build stress resilience like muscle memory. But here's what really changed everything, turning this emergency response into a daily practice. from crisis mode to strategic living. The real breakthrough wasn't managing that one bad day. It was realizing I could prevent those days entirely. I stopped waiting for stress to hit me and started building systems that prevented it from accumulating. This shift from reactive crisis management to proactive stress prevention changed everything about how I approach my daily life. Here's why most stress management fails completely. People treat symptoms instead of building resilience infrastructure. They wait until they're overwhelmed, then try to fix it with emergency techniques. It's like trying to repair a dam after it's already broken instead of maintaining it properly from the start. Let me give you the Pomodoro integration method I use every single day. I work in focused 25-minute blocks, then take a 5-minute break to check in with my stress levels. During those breaks, I ask myself what's building up tension and deal with minor issues before they become big problems. This prevents stress accumulation throughout the entire day. Next is stress categorization, which is my simple system for sorting daily pressures. I put everything into 3 categories: things I can control right now, things I can influence over time, and things completely outside my control. This takes about 2 minutes, but saves me hours of mental spinning on problems I can't actually solve. What you need to understand is how micro-decisions throughout your day either build or drain your stress resilience capacity. Every time you check your phone during focused work, you're making a withdrawal. Every time you complete a small task instead of letting it pile up, you're making a deposit. These tiny choices add up to your overall stress tolerance. I want you to think about stress budgeting like you would with money. You have a certain amount of mental energy each day. You can spend it wisely on important decisions and challenging tasks, or you can waste it on notifications, clutter, and reactive responses to other people's urgencies. My morning routine sets boundaries for the day. My evening review helps me learn from what happened. These create a protective framework around my mental energy. When unexpected problems come up, I have reserves to handle them instead of running on empty. This systematic approach transforms your relationship with stress from enemy to information. Stress becomes data about what needs attention instead of proof that you're failing. You start seeing patterns and making adjustments before minor problems become overwhelming crises. This isn't about perfection. It's about having the right tools when life gets messy. The difference between people who thrive under pressure and those who crumble isn't talent. It's having systems that work when everything else fails. I want you to pick just one technique from today and use it within the next hour, because knowledge without action is just entertainment. Here's what I need you to remember. Stress resilience is a skill you build, not a trait you're born with. You don't need special abilities or perfect conditions to start managing stress better. You already have everything you need to begin changing how you respond to pressure and overwhelm in your daily life.